we'll start here today is by asking the question, what's at stake for the Commanders? And this is incredibly anticlimactic, but I actually don't think there's a lot at stake tomorrow, which is probably a very different opinion than you've heard all day. And whether you're listening to us, whether you're listening to the Fan, whether you're reading, variety of columnists who are saying, well, Ron Rivera's job, if he loses big to Dallas, like he could get fired. Technically, yes. I think if they get blown out 50-0, like at that point, if you're Josh Harris, you have to worry about, hey, we've lost the locker room. We got to do something. We thought Ron could be the guy to land the plane, and it's pretty clear he's not going to run. He can't do that. They've stopped listening to him. They've stopped playing hard, and this is not acceptable in terms of the culture we want to establish moving forward. So, I do want to be very clear that I'm not saying there is no way that by the time we come to work on Monday that Rivera is 100% or that Rivera is gone or that they've made some kind of change or whatever. But realistically, unless it goes super duper sideways, which is possible. Dallas is pretty good. They're explosive. They create a bunch of big plays, and this team stinks at preventing teams from giving up big plays. Unless it goes super duper sideways and Sam has a stinker, the offense is inept, bunch more turnovers, bunch of sacks, and the defense can't stop anything, I actually don't think there's a lot on the line on Sunday. Now, of course, if you want to look at it, or on Thursday, realistically, if you want to make the playoffs, you have to win. Like we must win. Yes, you're not that far out of it, but there's a bunch of teams between you and being in it in terms of that 7th spot. They're all pretty mediocre too. That's the nature of it. But none of them have the defense in the league that's given up the most points and the most yards. That's your team. Like, we are talking about a bad football team. One that started 2-0 against the Cardinals, who had just traded for Josh Dobbs a week prior, and the Broncos, who at the time were on pace to be the worst defense in NFL history. And they've figured out how to turn it around midseason, which makes a lot more sense than the Commanders turning it around because they had a bunch of new people in charge. The Commanders, it's like, hey, it's all the same people. Why are we doing this again? But you beat those two teams, and you're 2-7 since. You've lost 4 of 5, with your one win being against Mac Jones in New England, and they did have the ball with a chance to go up on you until Mac Jones, well, he's not very good, so it didn't go anywhere. But, that was a close game where New England had the ball at the end with a chance to win. And so, all in all, realistically, there's not much on the line but draft position, which is very important in the long term. But it's weird to have this early. We've been through some bad and slow and uninteresting Decembers before. But there's just such a lack of drama, which is weird because this team is always full of drama and of the general football variety and the non-football, can you believe this bleep variety. Realistically, though, we know there's full-sale coaching changes coming. We're pretty sure they obviously the next quarterback or the next GM and head coach are going to have to decide what they think of Howell. But we're pretty sure, he's pretty solid. I guess there's a little mystery around EB, but if they're going to hire an offensive coach, EB's not coming back. And I don't say that with, any joy or glee. Eric Bieniemy is a good football coach, and I think he'll be better next year wherever he is than he was this year because he did have that year of experience away from Andy Reid doing it on his own, for the first time. And I would assume someone else will hire him and he'll do a good job there. So at the end of the day, what's left? Are you going to pick 7th, 9th, or 5th? You lose tomorrow, you're closer to 5th than 9th. Okay, cool. And to be at this point, this early, is pretty nuts. 2019 was the last time it happened. And obviously that was when Jay got canned 5 games into the season. But for as much as everyone wants to say Rivera's job is on the line, I don't think it is unless he gets absolutely dump trucked. They want him to be able to just take it through the end of the season. They want to leave EB in place to be able to work with Sam as much as he can. There's no one that's ever sniffed defensive coordinator to replace Del Rio. And I think most importantly, like, there's nothing to save. And I hate that. There's a part of me that doesn't even want to say that out loud, because then, like, why should y'all listen to me? What are we doing with sports radio if the season's over? I'm sure my boss isn't psyched that this is my take today. But at the end of the day, like, call it like I see it. And I would be beyond thrilled that if a month from now they've won 4 in a row, they beat Dallas, they beat Miami, they beat the Jets, they do the unthinkable. And this is the most freezing cold take that I will ever utter into a microphone. Am I going to full on Chris Russell it and say, hey, if they make the playoffs, I don't know, dance the polka all the way to Ashburn or something ridiculous? No, I'm not going to do that. No. You do that, bad things happen. Didn't Linnell almost lose some eyebrows or something this year? Bad situation. Yeah, Mike, you were there for that, weren't you?
Yeah, I think it was the eyebrows was one of the games, and then the Bills game was jumping through a table.
Yeah, he never jumped through a table, did he?
Nope.
We'll have to correct that. We are good on this show of making people follow through on their bets. We don't make the bets on this show. But if, say, you run your mouth about a basketball game one-on-one, the whole internet might see you get smoked 11-1 eventually. Ooh, sorry to bring that wasn't very holiday season of me to bring up, was it? Anyway, the point is, I don't think that there's much on the line tomorrow. So the good news is, like, just enjoy your family. Just enjoy, or not your family, your friends. If you're like, I'm not doing the family Thanksgiving thing, that is not joy. Okay, I get that. Totally. Just enjoy your friends. Enjoy nothing. Enjoy silence. I have a really good friend of ours, and she was like, you know what I'm looking forward to? Not talking to anybody. And she's going to sit on her couch in silence and take joy in that, and I have lots of admiration for that. So whatever it is that you are doing tomorrow, enjoy it. Do not let whatever happens in Dallas ruin if they win and that makes you happy, let it make your day. But if they do not play well or they lose or whatever, just shake it off, eat some more sweet potato pie, and have a great Thanksgiving. There's not much on the line. It is what it is. It's the Hoffman Show. We're on the Team 980. We're always live as well on the free Odyssey app. Now, with that said, my job is to talk about the game, whether there's something on the line or not. And obviously, look, they still can make the playoffs. They can do all these things. The math is the math. However unlikely, they're still alive. So what would it take for them to win? Plus, by the way, I will say this. It is Dallas week. And I know that has lost some luster over the years as it has not been nearly as competitive. However, I know that there's a lot of you listening that are like, hey, if we only win 5 games this year, but we beat the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, I'm pretty psyched about that because we beat the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. So how do they do that? Tell you keys to the game next. It's the Hoffman Show on the Team 980 and always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is the Hoffman Show on the Team 980 and the Odyssey app.